country where merit is irrelevant, where the only prerequisite for getting appointment is where you come from or your religion, that country will not go far. So these are some of the things that I will look at. So to find credible forces, it then means that you must find people with antecedents, very good, positive antecedents. And this is verifiable. It's something that people can verify easily. They want to know who you are, where you're coming from, your trajectory. How have you conducted yourself in your private capacity? So before you can now come into the public domain. So we must find such people. Even if they are not in a multitude, I believe there are such people that I have known. Everyone, one of my favorite examples is usually Chief Moshood Kashima Wolawale Abiola. If we use his template, I'm sure we will be nearer our destination. And what was that template? Here was a man who was completely detribalized. He was friends with everybody, but it didn't stop him from saying, in fact, on several occasions, his companies were shut down just because those of us who were working in Concord wrote things against his best friend, who was Babangida. But our chairman never interfered in what we were doing at Concord. He was a businessman who left us to do our job. And on so many occasions, when his friends in government call him to complain, he would tell them, people here want to tap paper only. Those guys just want to sell their paper, which a lot of his friends, and that's how objective people should behave. Don't say because of, therefore you will overindulge them. In Nigeria today, you hardly find people who can tell truth to power because they believe they are going to lose patronage. I always tell it that true radical is a man who is ready to put everything at risk for his country, not someone who will only fight his enemies and ignore his friends. Your ability to tell truth to power, even if it's going to jeopardize your business, if it's going to jeopardize everything you stand for, then you cannot be a good leader. So the new Nigeria and the new force and the credible force we're talking about must be who is self-accomplished. You cannot give what you don't have. A lot of the leaders we have will tell you voluntarily that they've never managed any 5 million naira business. And suddenly you catapult them to the heights they never expected, and they become people who are managing a 1 trillion naira budget. What do you expect? They are going to mismanage it. That is if they don't lose their sanity in the process. So I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. You've really outlined for us who the credible force is. And I believe that by us having this conversation this evening and by us being joined by the people that we have been joined by, it's an indication that this credible force, by the definition given, definitely is in existence. We are looking for the new Nigeria. We are looking towards a new Nigeria. And it is these conversations that set the platform, that are very necessary conversation for this to happen. So I'm now going to ask anybody on the stage, or if you're in the gulag and you'd like to say something towards this topic, do raise your hand. It was mentioned about being self-accomplished. And one thing that springs to mind then is that I would say that from that statement, we're saying that the credible force needs to be of a particular pedigree, or almost of a particular class or standard in order to lead from the front. My reason saying so is because if we're looking from the angle of experience, whilst experience is needed for every role and every job in life, one can argue that in the case of politics, it's possible that it's an on-the-job learning situation. I mean, what do you say to that, sir?
Leadership is not about politics. It's not you have been in politics or whether you have been a governor or a minister. Yes, it is good sometimes to have that kind of experience, but the kind of situation Nigeria is in right now, I believe actually requires fresh ideas, requires people who have not been corrupted, and I'm not talking about corruption in terms of stealing now, people who have not, because they are in politics. I believe, and this is my thesis, that a hardcore politician will find it difficult to change Nigeria moving forward. Let me repeat that. A hardcore politician. Because they have their way of doing their things. They have their way of doing their things. And they are so entrenched. They are not people you can bend. They are like very dry fish. You understand? They are set in their ways. They cannot change who they are. And because some of them have been in politics for 30, 40 years and they've been doing it in a particular way, they would want to continue to do it in that way. They owe their allegiance to their supporters. Some people have been supporting them since they joined politics. So when they get power, all they are thinking about is how do we settle this? How do we settle that? So Nigeria desperately needs new managers who will treat the nation the way you would treat your own personal business. If you want, you own a business, you want to work to ensure that the business does not collapse. You can see that the politicians don't seem to care whether Nigeria collapses or not. And that is why they continue to misbehave the way they are doing. So you need a refined, the way I like to put it, so that maybe we can get a better picture. You need a refined Donald Trump, a businessman who from day one is going to see the country as a company that must not collapse, as an economy that must survive. A man who does not need government for him to enjoy. A man who is capable on his own of doing things without depending on government. Politicians will never do that. As a matter of fact, once a politician is appointed in Nigeria, it is regarded as an invitation to treat, invitation to loot, invitation to begin to do things you could not afford in your personal capacity. So this is my idea that today, the two political parties leading, because we're going to talk a lot about that. I am very sure that we're talking about national politics tonight. I'm not talking about being governor of music. National politics, we must get it serious because I've heard all kinds of arguments. Oh, man, we can have a third party, a fourth party. I don't subscribe to it. I have sufficient knowledge and experience about this. I've had this argument with my colleagues, Kingsley Mogalu, Omoyele Sowore, and others. I am very, very convinced that if we are serious about this credible force, any politician or would-be aspirant who wants to truly play the game at the highest level must urgently be in a mainstream political party. Otherwise, you will soon become a serial contestant. You will just be contesting for the fun of it with no serious impact.
Okay. Okay. Now, that's not something I expected. I didn't think that was coming. You know, a lot of the time, the advocates for the new Nigeria go along the line of, the two main political parties that we have are not fit for purpose. We need new political parties. But you've thrown a spanner in the works here this evening, sir, and you've said any serious would-be aspirant must urgently be in one of the two mainstream parties. Interesting. I think the question that then springs to mind is this. Where would, an aspirant then joins one of these parties, you still have the old dogs in these parties. So surely he is to be eaten alive, so to say, by those already there. How does one navigate that?
Politics is, you are not going to kill the old dogs for you to be in politics. It's a game of number. You are going to deal with saints and sinners. That is leadership. You are not going to sack everybody in your office because you want to have a new company. You will still need some of the old people. It's the leader who will now change them. Your ability to change bad people to become good people is part of leadership. Leadership is not a free meal where you just come and everything is ready and perfect. Otherwise, then you won't need to change your leaders. Leadership is a continuous challenge for the leader. So when I hear people say, oh, they are bad eggs, they are bad, what makes a party is not the name of the party, it's the people in the party. If you say you are truly popular, then because you need structures. This is a theory. People have spoken about the emergence of Emmanuel Macron in France. Nigeria is not France. Nigeria does not have the infrastructure of France. Nigeria does not have the political pedigree of France. Nigeria does not have the education of the people of France. You are going to be dealing with nearly 80% illiterate population. Some of those who have gone to school are not even too different from the people you would describe as unlettered. So Nigeria should understand that Nigeria is at the bottom when it comes to issues of democracy. So we can sit on Clubhouse and talk from now till kingdom come. But there are some people in Yaforogi who have never heard some names in their lives. And you must see, and in fact, the most important voters are the people we tend to underrate or ignore. So going to a small party can only guarantee you a ticket, but it cannot guarantee you a win. I went through it. In 2010, I started from the Labour Party. And I was so sure that Nigerians were tired of the two leading parties. That was my assumption. But it was a foolish assumption. It was an ignorant assumption. You learn on the job. That's what politics is all about. You learn every day. And I've been in this game since 1982. And in those years, at least I've participated in about 4 different presidential elections. Chief Moshood Abiola, Chief Olufalaye against Olusegun Obasanjo, the Major General Muhammadu Buhari against President Jonathan, and Dele Momodu in 2011. So I know what I'm talking about. I refused to listen to anybody. When I was going to contest, I said, no, we need clean people. Are we going to invite angels from heaven to vote for you on the day of election? And let's say you win, are you going to kill all the sinners so for you to be the leader of a country? No. what you are going to do when you win. You start practicing before you win. That is what we call rehearsals in dramatic arts. You begin to rehearse. That's why I said, whosoever you want to elect now, that credible person, you must be able to verify that truly this is what this man has been able to do in his private capacity. So once we agree on that, I said it on a different platform yesterday, that look, I've had this running debate with some of the most fantastic guys that I know. Kingsley Moghalu is one of them. I love and respect him. But I believe he will be taking this race for granted if he feels it will be possible for him to win from a fringe political party. It is impossible. I can put a bet on it. I'm not a gambler, but on this occasion, I can put a bet on it that nobody in Nigeria today would look. There's nobody more popular than Buhari in the last maybe 50 years in Nigeria. He couldn't win because he was running from local political parties. CPC was a regional political party. ANPP was a regional, and these were parties that were even big. He couldn't win until he stretched his hands across and they were able to bring about a national party. That's why on 3 occasions he contested and lost. So who amongst us is more popular than Buhari? So you will come from a party that, in fact, you cannot even guarantee that they have even 10,000 members, registered members, and you want to win a national election. How will you do it? How will you do it? So for me, this is the problem. We need to get very serious about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Let me quickly refresh the house. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Surge, the White House family's political show. Our topic today is how can the credible force take power? And we have a guest in our midst in the person of Chief Dele Momodu joining us on the show this evening. If you are not following the house, kindly follow the house by pressing the little green icon and clicking to become a member. And if you are not following the mods, do well to follow the mods. Follow the mods so we can ping you in on time when we are having shows just like this one. So we have been discussing the credible force, and what we have looked at so far is who the credible force is, and we've already actually found out one very important step from our guest the credible force needs to take in order to take power. We've discovered that the credible force are those that believe in the new Nigeria. They believe that it is possible. They believe that it is feasible. That is to say, the credible force are not the negative Nancys. You need to believe that the new Nigeria is possible. And we've also discovered that to truly take power, this credible force must be serious and must urgently be in a mainstream political party. That is one of the two that we have, the PDP and the APC. So that's what we have. That's what we have heard so far from our guest. I am going to put on hand raising at this point. And if you would like to say something, if you would like to be a part of the discussion, raise your hand and you will be brought up on stage. Let's get everybody involved. Say your piece. Let's hear what you have to say. Hand raising is now on. Okay, so if you would like to say something towards what has been said so far, please blink your mic. Please blink your mic. If you're up on the stage, okay, Zana, I can see you. As you're coming up, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Thank you so much. If you're on the stage and you would like to say something, blink your mic. I am taking a list, and it is going to be a first come, first serve list. As you are coming up, you do well to mute. Please mute. Please mute. Thank you so much. Once I start taking the list, the hand raising will be turned up again until the next time. So the list is going as follows. We have Zana. We have Bolaji. Was anybody, okay, Toba? Anybody else blinking at this time? Sunday, okay, I can see you. Thank you so much. Hilachi. And that will be it at this time. Hand raising is now going off. Thank you so much. All right. So, Zana, are you there, please?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. Thank you so much, Zana. Thank you for joining us this evening. You have 5 minutes. Over to you.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, Chief Dele Mamadou.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. The challenge, you've made a lot of points, and then your points are absolutely phenomenal. I have to commend that. But the challenge we have here is that the old stuff, that's the old politicians, are still there behind the scene, and the new people that are trying to change this country, which we hope that they will change this country. If they are coming together, our monumental challenge is these people that are behind the scene, or those who are ruling this country for the past 40 to 50 years ago, either in the military uniform or in the civilian uniform or in a modified form that you find out that the head of state is a military and others are civilian. The question here is that, yes, somebody will belong to a party like the Popular Party that we know, the two parties. But the challenge we're going to have is that, one, there is no politics without finances. We need money, and these people have siphoned or stolen billions of money, which they can manipulate their ways. So now, if we are to see the good people, let me use that language, just like the way you rightly said, those people that will change Nigeria for better. We have a lot of them, but the problem we have is that, one, those people, the politicians, are polarizing us, either by bringing a politics of divide, bringing a kind of sectarianism, bringing religion there, the religious divide. Then also they play a politics of how do I call it? A politics of identity, because they will tell you, I'm from this place, and then if you didn't elect me, or you have to elect my person, and all that. So how do we subjugate this problem? Yes, I'm a true Nigerian. I don't believe in ethnicity. I don't believe in this man is a Yoruba, this man is a Hausa, this man is this. I wanted a better Nigeria. I wanted a credible candidate who will come up and do things for us to change Nigeria to be a better place. But the problem we have is that these same people are retardants. These same politicians are the problem we have. These politicians are the one controlling the INEC, controlling the policy, controlling the system. So how do we fight these people, or how do we now subdue these people for them to go down, and then the younger ones to come up, or those who are credible to come up and then change Nigeria to be a better place, sir?
Thank you very much. I will be a typical Nigerian by answering a question with a question before I answer it. Yes. Why are we always afraid even before we start a journey? Why? That is what is called politics. It's a battle. It's a struggle.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you want to take it on a platter? It's not going to happen, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's not going to happen. We must go into the field of battle, confident, courageously, and
we're listening to you, sir.
About money just now.
Yes.
How much did OBJ have when he was going to run? How much did Yaradua have?
Yes.
How much did Jonathan have? How much did Buhari? Buhari told us he could not even afford his nomination papers.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
know why we don't have money? Because we
No.
don't belong to the right political parties. While you and I are here busy talking, some smart young Nigerians have become governors. Some have become ministers because they are in the right political parties. Nobody, even if it's your best friend.
Yes, sir.
I know everybody who is anybody in Nigeria. Okay? Dangote
Yes.
is not going to give me a dime.
Yes.
If he knows that I have no chance in hell of winning. That is what I'm trying to educate my friends about. And they are being stubborn. Saying no, no, no. We can't go there. So where will you go? To be a president, that you must at least get maybe anything from 15 to 20 million votes. So where are the angels that you want to vote for you? The process begins from the primaries, from getting the ticket of a serious political party. There are always two in most countries. 90% of countries that I know, and I've studied world politics,
Yes.
you must be in either of the top two to have a chance. I don't want people coming here to tell me by Emmanuel Macron. France, that was even an exception.
Yes.
You understand, sir? So
Yes.
let us begin to do things more courageously. People always talk about, and they are not going to agree, they are not going to agree, they are not going to agree. Look, if you don't try, you won't know what is possible. Let me give you the example of Chief Abiola. At least I'm very familiar with that.
Yes.
Chief Abiola suddenly in 1993, 2 months to the primaries. In fact, those of us who were very close to him, it took us by surprise. And the first question we asked, how can chairman do this when he knows that primaries will just be 2 months away? And the chairman of the party, Baba Gana King, was also interested in running.
Yes, sir.
Yet Abiola did not consider that the governors of SDP were supporting Baba Gana King. Complete stranger. He was a businessman. He was not a hardcore politician. He came like thunderbolt. Yes. And he used his personal popularity. I would not say money, because all the governors put together, there is no way he would have had more money than all the governors. But he was so bold. He used his personal popularity. He used his exposure. He used his international contact. He used his generosity, which he had established over time. So today, those who say they want to be president, let them come out and say how many Nigerians they've interacted with in the last 20 years. Presidency is not an overnight thing.
Yes, sir.
You must have made your mark over time. Donald Trump didn't just come out one day to say, I want to be president of America. He was planning. What did he use? Power of showbiz.
Yes, sir.
What did Ronald Reagan use in America? Power of showbiz. I'm an actor. I'm famous. I'm this. People must go into mainstream parties. If you say you are popular, then take all your followers there. If they can't vote for you in a popular party, so is it in a fringe political party that they will vote for you?
I understand, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. But
Okay,
sir, there's one thing.
thank you. Thank you. Zana, you have another thing you want to say?
That's just very brief.
Yes,
all right.
Very brief, to Chief, sir. Sir,
Okay.
the another factor that I want to assume will militate against these good people is that the politicians, if they knew that those people, if they knew that you are very credible and your intentions are very positive, and you're going to be a retardant to all the things, bad things they intend doing, I don't think they would like to nominate or rather give you the ticket. That's what I assumed, sir.
Yeah, that is what we always say. Let me tell you.
Yes, sir. Shed light for us, sir.
Yes, sir. Politicians are more practical than you think. They are not stupid. If PDP knows they are going to lose election by building the same usual people they always field, trust me, they will look at. Do you think ordinarily Tinubu, Amechi, Saraki, and all of them would have fielded Buhari? They fielded Buhari because of his popularity, not because they liked him. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
That's politics. People look for who can win elections.
That's true.
It's like Man U buying Ronaldo.
Yes.
Once upon a time, Ronaldo was not their friend, but when they needed him, what did they do? They went for him. And he made the difference. That is what politics is about. Politicians are very smart. Right now, there are two leading political parties in Nigeria. And one of them appears to be weak because it's still the same old people that they would throw up. So this is the stage where if they are serious about winning an election, and I know they are very serious about winning election, they will shop around. And if they find potential candidates who can connect to the Floaters Party, they are there. And they are looking for a winnable candidate, somebody who can understand their language. You understand? So
yes,
the parties are very smart. They know that if they just go and bring just anybody, they will lose election. So this is the time for those of us who claim that we are popular, we are credible, we are accomplished, we are cosmopolitan, we are detribalized, we are generous, we are charitable. This is the time to make that move. You will never get a better time than now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. I understand. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, in fact, the next point from that is the time is now, and that political parties, whilst the myth of, if you don't sort of do the scratch my back, I scratch yours, you don't have a shot at the ticket. The reality is actually that political parties are more about winning the election. And so if the best candidate is, if the best candidate is somebody new, then the political party will go for that on the grounds that they want to win the election. Interesting. Bolaji, are you there, please?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, Bolaji, you have 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity again. And I'd like also to say thank you to the new area, Chief Delimon. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. All right. I'll start by saying that contrary to, I would like to first not agree with certain things the area said, which and I'll start by saying that it is a game that is going to be very difficult for any new entrants to come into. That's because, as we all know, it's a game where the same guys that have been there and they hold tenaciously everything that has to do with power, everything from the foundation of it, and they are not ready to leave these levels. And so I think that certain things have to be considered. One of them is that we're at a time where we have probably the best set of youths. Maybe one may be close to it. Maybe when the Awolowos were younger. But at this time we have a set of youths who, out of strife, out of very tough bringing up, they're like that goat that they say you chase to the wall and it turns back at some point. And I'll say that that was demonstrated particularly in October last year, where people stood and they confronted and they faced the live bullets. Even when it looks like they weren't fighting for what had an end. Now I am saying that we may be lucky to have such courageous youths at this time. I'm referring to this because the RM mentioned that we need courageous people and we need people who are determined. And I think it probably cannot be better than now. Having said that, I would want to say that joining the two mainstream parties may not be the only way out. It sounds like it's the best, but I think that if we go that way, we may end up. I mean, I've thought about it. I've read. If I should say, I've read quite much about it and relating the history to the present. And it looks like we would keep repeating. And examples abound around us. You know what they did in the last election, how they brought, how they poached people who were, let me say the divide, who were on the side, on our side of the divide. And they brought them over and it was easy to buy them over, offering what is always very enticing, power and influence and money. And we lost it at that point. However, so I want to emphasize that I think we may be losing that fight if we go that way. And I also think that it is not so much of hopelessness. It is not so much of an impossibility. And this is what I suggest. That the young people, wherever they are, especially those that have proven themselves in their private endeavors and wherever other places they found themselves, I think we should continue to agitate for it. And beyond that, now, I think we should press out, and then we should recognize what I am thinking may become a third force, where we are not going for the topmost power, the presidency, and we may for the next election we may not immediately go for even the gubernatorial. We may be going for where we would have some level of influence. And I'll say this, the legislature. And I think this may not be too far from being possible, where we have it in pockets here and there. And one thing I know about this is if an ABGA or an ADC or a Labour Party somehow from within us, as much as we think social media is not that place, but people recognize themselves there, and it's easy to start supporting themselves there, so that somehow they have themselves littered in different places, and then each person comes in and is able to deliver. I have this, I have that, and then the convergence still becomes this place where we rally together, and then where people are easily called out, where people don't want to. I think that such success will always build itself and make itself and reproduce itself. That I believe. And so I'm saying that I would suggest that the young people who have this vision and who have this passion and who have this courage should continue, albeit not looking very much at the top now. That may be the goal, but we take it in bits. Saying that, I would also think that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Go on, please.
Okay. So having said that, I would also think that it may be an easy place. Using the social media where we know we do not do, but a lot of influence are being gathered here. So that by every means, them Showore lost out then because I would think it was the first time. Not the first time per se, but it was we are evolving gradually, and I don't think we should give up. Some other persons should come. Many more should come out and do it. And present themselves. I've said that. And then get all of the support. I believe there are many people who are willing to support such persons once they see seriousness in them. Get all the support, and you know you are responsible to a constituency. I believe that those guys would make a mark instead of joining those mainstream parties. I believe that they will make a mark. They will want to stand out and they want to protect and defend their names. And I believe they will have the support of these guys that put them there. And so the next thing I want to say is that may again only be possible if you have a fair electoral system. If you have an electoral system that is not easily manipulated. And that's why I would think people like the Arel who is here and other persons who are of influence. And as in every way we can, we should put a lot of pressure on achieving the electronic voting system. I believe very much that it will come very handy in supporting this fight. Because by every means, I know not everybody, not everywhere would vote foolishly. At some point, even I always believe in that thing that he that has little more will be given to him. Even when people start seeing that something may happen, they will give the support. And I know that once this, I believe very much that once this happens, yes, please. Okay, I believe very much that once this happens, it can only have spiral. It can only have effects that you don't know how it's going to end. I'll cite the example of one person. I don't intend making this a political discourse, but I've seen what the governor in Oyo State, for example, maybe it's close to what I'm thinking, although he's in one of these parties. But the governor here, maybe because he's not so much bred in the midst, at least before he became the governor. He was not, I believe he wasn't thoroughly into the system. And he had more foresight, he had more leadership, in my opinion, better leadership qualities. And in less than 4 years, he's gradually become a yardstick for good judgment. And I think that if we're able to get people who have led their own organizations well, people who have stood out, if we get them in these places I'm suggesting, I believe we'll have a much better result. I think I submit at this point. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me look at the highlights of all the points you've made. It's almost similar. The first one is almost similar to what my brother Zana mentioned earlier on about, it's going to be difficult. These people are entrenched in those political parties. And at the same time, you are telling me we shouldn't look for easy way out. I want you to look at that very well. Look, you go into political parties not because there will be no challenges. You go to political parties that you believe will be relevant. What is the point if you are contesting? Because even from your conclusion, what is the point if you go to a political party to contest and all you do every time is to lose election? What have we gained? I am telling you, the smartest Nigerians today, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, about 2 years ago, resigned from a very, very important job at Transcorp. I'm talking about Valentine Ozibo. Valentine was doing so well. The day he told me he was going into politics, I was scared. I said, Val, are you sure? He said, yes. He said he's tired of complaining and not making the difference. Today, He has fought all the battles and he's been able to travel far in PDP. That's a serious man. If he had gone to a fringe party, I don't want to mention any party now, he would have no chance whatsoever. Today is one of the leading lights in Anambra State. Okay? A lot of young people who know the right things to do would go to parties where they can realize their dreams. I don't want us to worry too much about, yes, I like the one you said, people face bullets last year. I agree. I salute the movement. But it's also not true that we didn't face bullets. We started facing bullets from 1978. I was a pioneer jambite at the University of Ife. The Ali must go riots. People died. People were maimed. Dr. Victor Molololuloyo's son, God bless this young guy, just passed on a few days ago. He lost his ability to move around because they ran into a demonstration and someone threw something at him and that injured his spine. Okay? People have died for Nigeria. It hasn't changed anything. Some of us were detained. I was probably the first person to be arrested after June 12th. I had left Chief Abiola's house that morning, got home. I didn't know the security people were on my trail, and they followed me home, and they picked me up, and from there, I ended up sleeping in Alagbon detention camp. General Abacha, again, I was forced into exile and became a refugee in this very London for 3 years. We tried our best. Nobody can say we did nothing. At least I cannot be accused of doing nothing. I've always participated at every turn. I've been in opposition. I've not been in a hurry to join mainstream or anything. So I am credible enough to talk about what I'm talking about. If I was jumping from APC to PDP, PDP to APC, then you can accuse me of looking for easy way out. I have not looked for any easy way out. When Chief Obasanjo was contesting, I supported Chief Olufalaye, who I believe I didn't want a military man to come back. I supported Falaye. How many people would do that when it was obvious that the establishment wanted Obasanjo? So you learn from your experience. I'm talking from experience. I'm not just talking theory. I'm being very practical. And go and read world politics and tell me how many countries where you have a proliferation of parties. They are not plenty. At the very best, maybe they will form an alliance. And they will not be, okay, imagine in 2023, you have Mogalu, you have Dele Momodu, you have Alisa Soyode, you have all this lined up. So how can they win election? And the low turnout, someone mentioned it, the low turnout is to their advantage. Go into a mainstream party and fight. If you don't make it, it will be on record that you tried. But if your record is all about, you just want to contest every election, you contest every election, it's not going to be easy. I told Fela Durotoye when he came to see me, I told, in fact, one of my favorite candidates, all-time candidate in Nigeria, is Donald Duke. I told him last time, before 2019, he said third force. I said, what's so called? I said, there'll be nothing like third force. He went and joined the party. Okay, tell me now. You say we are serious. We are credible. Tell me if it is possible today for all our young aspirants to be in one party and allow one of them. Let them, even if there are 10 of them, let them choose just one candidate among them. I I want you to guarantee me that that is possible today. Then I will know we're serious about it, not force. 10. Assemble 10. I can give you all their names. 10. And tell the 10 people to vote. To have majority vote, then you will represent us. Is that possible today? I want someone to answer me, please. Thank you. Okay, maybe before we go to that, you mentioned, I assume you were referring to the governor of your state, who is in. If Governor Seyi Makinde was not in PDP, do you think he would have a chance in any other party? It's very rare. And me, I'm not even talking about governor. I've told you from the beginning, I'm not talking about governor. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking. Look, the president of Nigeria is probably the most powerful president on earth. You don't know the kind of power that the president of Nigeria with. That's why you see people in the National Assembly. You are a drop in the ocean. You are telling me that we can start from. Tell me one Nigerian radical who has made it to the legislature and who changed anything. Mention one. Please, I want us to be practical. I don't want us to come here and be repeating the same things that we talk about all the time. I want us to be practical. That's why I'll be throwing questions back at my friends on this platform. Tell me, legislature, tell me people that you know who were radicals, and I know many of them who were radicals. Tell me how they changed the legislature.
Well, I think so. Somebody there were quite a number of radicals in I think the 8th Assembly. The number, okay, maybe I can't count, but I can count more than 1 and 2. Who
are they now? Mention them.
Shehu Sani, for example, quickly comes to mind. I'm trying to
what happened to him?
He was silent. He didn't have a voice there, and it's why I am canvassing for more than one.
Let me tell you for free, sir. Shehu Sani called me 2 weeks ago, excited that he listened to my advice. Shehu Sani today is in PDP. In case you are not aware, you can quickly Google.
I know that.
Shehu Sani is in PDP. He was excited that he read my articles and that, hey, Chief, you are very right. He became irrelevant the moment he went to PRP or wherever he went. Okay, I beg.
All right.
I want us to be practical, please. We talk a lot of theory. Politics is not about angels, it's not about saints. It's about leadership, it's about managing people and resources. You are talking as if when you become a leader, you automatically only a saint. That's what led us to Buhari in the first instance. What Nigerians were saying is the only one who is not corrupt. He's the only one who is clean. He is a poor man. He is this, he is that. That's what led us to Buhari in the first. Where? This from the president of America. Everything that could be wrong was wrong. Yet the young people who love him said, no, it's him we want. He defeated the political machinery of the Clintons completely. That is what politics is about. You must have the courage. The first thing you need today in any major party is your courage. There is no party I will join today where anybody will ignore my voice. Even if you will not support me, you will not allow me, at least you will know there is a human being in that party. It's very important. Donadieu, fine gentleman, brilliant, accomplished gentleman, very forward-looking, very, very ambitious, and very, very frugal. He couldn't make it. Once you leave the mainstream, you become a fish out of water. That is the truth.
Okay.
Someone mentioned Abaribe. Yes, but what can he do? Can it touch Buhari? The answer is no. That's why I said you are a drop in the ocean. To change a system and a country, you need executive power. A lot of people will say, oh, Fashola, Fashola. I said, look, Fashola, don't blame him. The role of a minister is different from the role of a governor. A governor has executive power to do and undo. A minister does not have the same power. He has to wait. A man like Buhari, who is never in a hurry, look, in the next 10 months, you are waiting for your file to come back. You must wait. There's nothing you can do because you are not the president. Look, people talk, Oshibajo, he's not talking. He's not doing, what can he talk? You are at the mercy of the president. Simple. Simple. There is nothing you can do. The president is the capo di tutti capi. He is the boss of all bosses. Nothing you can do about it. That is the way Nigeria is configured. In other crimes, you can challenge the president. They challenged Donald Trump. When he was becoming uncontrollable, they challenged him. In Nigeria, that is more difficult. And taking to the streets is not the solution. Yet, he also spoke about the electoral system. Look, people say, oh, they will rig you, they will rig you. And we have not even reached that level. The first level is seek you first a ticket of a major political party. And everything else shall be added onto it. Edo State is a good example, my state. I was so proud when Edo people said, no, you come and try and rig us here and see what we have. Why? Because they were vehemently opposed to APC in Edo State. And APC knew it. It was obvious. Once you have popular candidates in any mainstream party, trust me, it will be impossible for anybody if PDP picks a brilliant, I've said it, cosmopolitan, detribalized Nigerian, self-accomplished Nigerian comes into the party. The tempo, the tenor, everything will change immediately. It will change. People love, that's what happened to MK. He's our man. No? People love something new. Who doesn't like a new car? Who doesn't like a new home? Who doesn't like a new wife? Who doesn't like, good food? Who doesn't like, that is what you need to energize people in politics. But if it's the same person you have been seeing for 50 years, the young people will not get interested. And like someone said, low voter turnout will favor them. Because who is going to go and waste his time to vote when you know the result already? You need new people to go into those parties. You need new people to go into those parties. Energize them. Bring back the excitement. Abiola brought a lot of excitement into SDP. Otherwise, there is no way it would have been easy for a southern candidate at that time to defeat. The man defeated his opponent, Alhaji Bashir Tofa. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So another tip that we've learned on how the credible force can take power is also having courage and not being afraid to do the needful. Let me refresh the house. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the White House family. This is The Surge. This is the political show. And the topic today is how can the credible force take power? If you are not following the house, please click the little green icon and follow the house and become a member. We have very interesting shows, and this is just one of them. Do well to also follow all the mods. All the mods host their own show, and they'll be able to ping you in as and well. Please also follow our Instagram at White House Family Clubhouse, at White House Family Clubhouse. On there, you will get regular updates about the shows that we're having and how you can also get involved. I am your host, First Lady Dams, and the show is ongoing. I have a question from somebody. Udwak, are you there, please?
Yes, Dammie, I'm here.
Udwak, please ask your question.
Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I have a question. So the topic is, how can the credible force take power? As much as I agree with you that you have to get the right party to side with you, and currently PDP has been doing a lot, and I can speak to that because I would say that in Akwa Ibom State, for example, we have Gospel Akpabio that has changed the trajectory of things in Akwa Ibom State. But my question is this: do you think that PDP has the ability to take Nigeria to the next level? Because they have taken us this far, they have done the needful. Yes, it can be identified as a credible party that has produced leaders, good leaders in most states, not all, but most states that have changed a lot of things. But do you think that PDP actually has the ability, they have the people that are able to change Nigeria, take Nigeria to the next level, to a better dimension? So,
Thank you. That's a very good question. I love that. But let me make a quick correction. Akpabio was governor in Udom, who is there now in Akwa Ibom, and Akpabio has since moved to APC. That's to tell you that we don't have ideological political parties yet at that level in Nigeria, and that's why it's easy for people to move from party A to B and back again. Okay, so yes, to your question, can PDP? That's why I told you it's not the name of a party that matters; it's the people in the party. And I can tell you today, I've traversed the length and breadth of Nigeria several times, and the best performing governor in Nigeria, nobody can query me on it. If you want videos, you want everything, I'll send to you. It's Nyesom Wike, it's PDP. Anybody can challenge me on it. I can tell you the quality of work ongoing in Rivers is unparalleled anywhere. It's in PDP. So it's not the party. You can find very useless people in the so-called good party and very good people in the so-called bad party. I am telling you today that PDP governor, someone mentioned it on this platform. I think it was Bolaji who mentioned the governor, and I think he was talking about Seyi Makinde. He can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? Seyi Makinde is in PDP. Udom is in PDP. Ben Ayade was in PDP until he moved recently to APC. Godwin Obaseki, my governor in Edo State. I was in Edo over the weekend, and I can see the efforts, especially in the area of education. For me, education is one of the number one challenges in Nigeria, because if you don't educate the people, then it will be easy for politicians to manipulate them during elections and give them 500, 1,000 naira. PDP are doing a lot. They are doing a lot. I'm not saying you don't have APC who are also doing their own, but I can confirm to you that the best, for me, the best performing governor in Nigeria today, number one, is Nyesom Wike. I would say without any fear of contradiction. The quality of work, Julius Baja everywhere, building flyover, doing. Even people are asking, where is he getting his own money from? So, what are we talking? So let us go into the parties. Nobody can tell me what we do in advance. Until you get there, nobody can know what you can do. You have to be there first. It's very easy for all of us to sit down there and say, yeah, we are credible, we are not rogues, we won't steal money, we won't, until you have been tempted, you won't know what you are capable of doing. So, I hope that answers your question, my dear sister.
yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So the next speaker on the list is Toba. Toba, are you there, please? Toba, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here. Good evening.
Good evening, Toba. The floor is yours. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very, very good, sir. I'm very good, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. At least I've learned a lot today about Nigerian politics as a whole. And from my own angle, I think I've been getting things wrong because I always think it's not possible for us to take APC or PDP out of the picture. That is, to me, it is never possible. Like, for us to have someone who is credible, and we think the person can just come from anyhow party and take away from the two parties that have set a benchmark for like years, that it's almost impossible. And when I was still going through my dad, I was checking. I see the people in APC right now are once a member of PDP. So it's like a transfer market to me. What would I call it? A reshuffling of both parties, one way or the other. And now comes 2023, which is like a year plus ahead of us right now. We don't have any cards to throw at all. We don't have any cards. This will have the foundation, they have the benchmark, they have the structure for them to use already. While we saying maybe we can just nominate anybody to go and challenge the power, it is not possible. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Whether we like it or not, come 2023, it's either PDP or APC. And like for example, for what you have said, like from your knowledge, you're making known to us that we can't write them off. We can't kill them. We can't just decide one day and say, no, we want to delete APC and PDP. We have to go through proper channel, which is by getting someone we call credible to join one of those parties. Yeah, now, sir, I want to put this to you. If we peradventure will get that person or to join one of those parties, and that person got the ticket, maybe APC or PDP, how do we show that person will perform to our own expectation? Or perform to the power that be under the APC and PDP platform? That's my question, sir.
Sister Toba, I hope I pronounced it correctly, your name correctly.
Yes, sir, Mr. Toba, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, it's Mr. Not, okay. I wasn't sure. Okay. Thank you for your question. I believe you've partly answered it by saying we can't write them off, we can't ignore them. The credible candidate, that's part of the risk of democracy. Democracy is a risk. There are no guarantees. That's why the elections are held every 4 years. When Buhari was coming in 2015, would you have expected what is happening today? Nobody expected it. We thought we had a born-again Democrat. We thought we had a Messiah who will take away all our sins. But the rest is history. So whosoever we are calling credible now is only going to give us word of mouth. There is nothing else. We don't sign agreements with them before they take power. So it's a risk. That's why I said you must look at the person's pedigree. You must look at his personal accomplishments. So don't let anybody just come to you and tell me, what have you managed successfully in your life, in your private capacity? You cannot give what we don't have. That is very key. So I'm assuring you that the moment Nigerians are able to identify such personalities, we will get closer to our destination. One of our problems today is that Nigerians cannot even identify credible candidates. If you mention 20 names now, they are going to abuse all of them. You will now ask yourself, so who then? Are you going to import a saint from heaven? Until we're able to identify good people who have done things all their lives. If you ask me to speak about myself now, I can tell you a million things that I've done in my life, 61 years on earth. So let each and every aspirant come out and say it publicly. This is what I have done with my life. This is what I have done with others. This is what I have done with money. This is what I have done. So once you are able to do that, then we can begin to project into the future and say, okay, this person has enough character, he has good character, he has enough contact, home and abroad. These are things that you require. When I mentioned Onaduke earlier on, I mentioned him because I could point at when he was governor. You could see the brilliant dreams he had, but those brilliant dreams were cut short because in Nigeria we lack continuity. So it's very important that whosoever we want to choose must be thoroughly screened. That is important. It is not that it is not doable. I am telling you, in fact, one of the best things that Naji Atiku Abubakar said recently was that when people said he should not contest, he said, why are you asking me not to contest? He said, I've not stopped the young one from contesting. That's a challenge to us. As a Democrat, I can't tell anybody, people, anytime I post Tinubu on my page, people will come and abuse him. I'm only doing my job by posting content. I've not asked you to vote for Tinubu or not to vote for him. So if Tinubu says he wants to contest, it is his right. It is also your own right to vote for him or to reject him. It's as simple as ABC. But you cannot say, don't marry me and don't marry my friend. You can only tell a man that you are not going to marry him. You cannot tell him not to marry another person. That is my best analogy. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, sir. So I've got some questions, some people waiting to ask you questions. So I will start from the first person. Henry, are you there, please?
Yeah, I'm here.
Henry, please ask your question. Keep it to 1 minute. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Chief Dammie, I want to thank you for coming out here today. My question is very, very brief. I'm a realist, okay? I want to ask you a specific question. How do you think the youths can be engaged to bring about this change? I say this because appearance is not reality. We see an influx of all of the youths, millennials, and even Gen Z people online. Everybody's on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, and everything. But then when it comes to the actual politics, it's local. Right now, we're on Clubhouse. We just speak, but time for election, nobody comes up to make that change. So what, in your own humble opinion, do you think that we can take that progressive and practical and proactive step to make sure that we change that system? That it's not all about speaking, but then we're taking proactive action to bring about that change, as opposed to speaking online. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry the Great. I can tell you very confidently that the youth know their friends. It's not that only when election comes, you come back to them. You must have been with them through thick and thin. And I'll give you a practical example. It's on one of my phones here. I have an app which was developed last year by a Ghanaian lady called Farida Bedwe. You can Google her name. She's very, very, very brilliant. And Farida saw what I was doing, offering palliatives to Nigerians, but it was not very well organized. And she reached out to me that, Chief, I could help you design something. And she came up with this app. Today, in every location in Nigeria, I have people that I have been sending things to. In Borno State alone, we have about almost 8,000 applications, and we give to those who we can afford to give to. In the last 1 year, we've disbursed close to 25 million naira. And this money did not come from politicians. The bulk of it came from donations from my friends. We have a group called the ACE in England. And we have people from America, medical doctors, who through our interventions are willing to come to Nigeria to help their people. They are contributing money. And we're doing it, what government could not do, we're doing it transparently. Youths want that. You see, the key element of leadership is trust. If the people trust you, the youth proved out to vote for Abiola because they trusted him. That's why I keep saying that for anybody to be credible now, you need that kind of, you must improve on Abiola's template because it's almost 30 years now. 28 years ago was June 12, 1993. In another 3 years, it will be 30 years. So, of course, we need to fine tune, but that is the very beginning of a good and new nation. You need people who have compassion. While you have passion for your business, you must also have compassion for the ordinary man on the street. Henry, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
It's very, very important. And go out there and talk to them. You know, I mean, you've been following me on Twitter. On Twitter, I engage a lot of times. Why do you waste your time replying to those guys? I said, because if someone does not know, you must teach that person. You can't blame someone who doesn't know who you are. Don't assume. That's why I said the job of a presidential candidate is not an overnight thing. You can't just wake up and assume that if I make enough noise, it will be enough. No, you must be practical. Who do you know? Can you go to Adamawa State today and find somewhere to sleep? Find a friend in Adamawa and find somewhere in Taraba. Can you go to Sokoto? Can you go to Kebbi? Can you go to Anambra? Can you go to Abia? Can you go to Ebonyi? Can you go to Akwa Ibom? Can you go to Bayelsa? Who do you know in those places? Nigeria urgently needs a unifier. Not someone who is coming to set to pour petrol into the fire. We already have fire burning. You need someone who will be able to unite our people and get them to be productive. No country can make progress in an atmosphere of permanent, perpetual upheaval. That is my take on your question. Henry, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
The next question is from Solomon. Solomon, are you there, please? Solomon.
Hello? Yes, please, right here.
Okay, Solomon, you have the floor. Thank you.
Right. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for your inputs and submissions.
Thank you, sir.
I just wanted to ask a question because I'm sure a lot of youths have this kind of a question in mind. You know, when you're going into politics, what do you think is the best way to go for a youth? Because I see some people, especially in the last election, a lot of people kind of went for the presidential ticket, the governorship ticket. You have people, tens of people actually went to run for presidency, which I think is very courageous. But I think the motive behind them doing that, even though they know that they're most likely not to win, the motive for doing that is just to be able to say, oh, I was once a presidential candidate. Because eventually, I think all those parties were kind of into either the APC or something of that nature. So I heard. So eventually, so what do you think is the best way? Do they go through like the local government election, councillor election, or even probably even state house elections? Or do they even go for the gun? Like, do they go for the jugular at once? Maybe like governorship or presidency or things like that.
Well, that's why I said every man for himself, God for us all. Every man must know his worth. You must do a self-assessment. When I went into it, I didn't go into it because I wanted to be called former presidential candidate. I was encouraged and inspired by the emergence of Barack Obama in the United States. I felt Nigeria was due for a fresh breath of air. That's why I went there. And I looked at my antecedents. I did a self-assessment. I looked at where I was coming from. At the time I contested, I was 51 years old. I wasn't too young. Obama was younger. David Cameron was younger. Okay? So
Right.
I looked at my education, I looked at my intellectual capacity, I looked at my contacts, global contacts, I looked at my exposure, I looked at my friends. I'd interacted with presidents in Africa and outside, and I could see they did not have two heads, and that governance was not rocket science. I knew I was ready for anybody to contest. If you know you are not ready, don't waste your time and don't waste the time of your followers and those who will contribute their widow's mite to your campaign. I was convinced. I looked at all the people I'd interacted with. I looked at Chief Abiola. He was never a senator. He was never in the house. He was never anywhere. He was just a businessman. And I knew he would have been able to change Nigeria. He would have been able to unite Nigeria. All this agitation that we have today would not have been there. So I was ready. Despite that, I can tell you that in the last, since I lost the election, which of course was predictable, I've also tried to update and upgrade myself in business, in education. I went to Oxford University on a fellowship. I made sure I interacted more with both the young and the old. That's why today I have 1.6 million followers on Twitter. They are organic. I didn't buy them. Some people buy, you know that some people buy followers.
Right.
I don't have anybody handling any of my social media accounts. I handle everything myself. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'm right here with you on Clubhouse. I go tomorrow. You might find me on Space. I do what I need to do. There is no blogger who can blog more than me. I'm not being boastful. That is what leadership is about. You must update yourself regularly. But a leader who sits down at home for 30 years and does nothing, he has not read a book, he has not written a book, nothing. It's going to be difficult for him to speak the language of the young ones. You must interact with them. What I see is a kind of standoffishness on the part of our leadership. Like the young ones, to hell with them. What can they do? If they come out to do MSAS, we will crush them. That is the attitude. So that's why the new Nigeria we desire must have leaders who must have compassion. And if you've not had it before, you're not going to have it when you get power. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Okay. I'm going to go back to the list because we have some speakers and then we'll take some more questions. I do have some questions in my back channel, but let's take some speakers before we take some questions. So Sunday, are you there? No, he's not. Sunday has gone. That's fine. Kalachi, are you there, please? Kalachi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Kalachi. You have 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief, for your everything you've said so far. Most of the other speakers have said some of the things I wanted to say, and also some of the questions I wanted to ask. And you've dealt a great deal with many of them. But one of the things that I wanted to speak about as well, how I feel, and the title or the topic that we're talking about today also, say something about it. And the topic we're talking about, how can a credible state? I believe that part of
Kalachi, we can't hear you. Kalachi. Kalachi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Can you be more audible, please? Maybe increase your volume or closer to your mic, or if you're using an AirPod or an earpiece, please disconnect it so that we can hear you clearly. You are very faint.
Can you hear me now, please?
This is better. Go ahead, please.
Okay, sorry, I think it was some network issue. So I was saying that part of what I think is
we still can't hear you, sir.
Kelechi, we've lost you again. Kelechi, if you can hear me, kindly try leaving the app and then coming back in. All right, so Kelechi is going to work on his network. So while we're waiting for that, let's take a question. So this question was sent to me by somebody in the Gulag, and the question is, sir, what was your experience when you ran for president? How did you deal with the cajoling by other parties for you to drop out for other candidates? And did someone who truly wants to make a difference step down for another consensus candidate in the case of a coalition?
Well, in my time, I didn't experience such. Nobody asked me. You see, when you appear very serious, nobody will throw any nonsense at you. Anybody who knows me knows that I will never undertake any project if I wasn't ready or serious about it. As I said earlier on, I was very serious about being the president of Nigeria. And I did what even the so-called big ones could not do. I started from Labour Party because my idea was to galvanize the workers of Nigeria into a workers' platform. I wanted a situation where we would not need to depend on any money bag, so that we can deduct direct debit from all the workers, or even if it's 1,000 naira every month. Imagine how much you will be able to raise. So that way there are stakeholders in the political party. But unfortunately, my party at that time was not ready for that kind of ideal. They found me too idealistic. They found me utopic. I traveled to England, where I met with a member of parliament, and the Lord, who was so kind and agreed to help introduce me to the British Labour Party. Their headquarters, I actually visited them somewhere around Victoria. And they were going to help us and link us up with the International Socialist Movement. And then they will help us with policy formation, so we can take a look at education, at health, at transport, and so on and so forth, agriculture. So we can have a welfare state. A country as poor and as impoverished as Nigeria cannot afford to run a hardcore capitalism. What being practiced today is the American system. You cannot practice capitalism without capital. That's why Nigerians are suffering. So I dreamt of a welfare state for Nigeria. And I've been living in Britain since 1995, when I was forced into exile. I saw, for example, that if I'm sick, I can go to hospital, the best hospitals. The nearest hospital to me then was Royal Free Hospital. I could walk in there under any test. So how can poor people in Nigeria, if it's God that is our doctor in Nigeria, otherwise, too many people would have died by now. To survive under the condition in Nigeria, I couldn't imagine it. So I wanted a welfare state. I have not seen any candidate in Nigeria who has gone to that extent. So I was ready. My experience was, of course, that of disappointment. Even my own colleagues have accused them, even journalists, who you would expect to give me maximum cooperation and publicity. They refused. I visited a prominent newspaper in Nigeria. The editorial board interviewed me for several hours. If they will use that interview maybe tomorrow, since 2010, 2011, you will not believe it. They were ready to promote other candidates. I remember, one of the most ridiculous, a national newspaper, every Sunday, they were doing projections. And when they get to my party, Labour Party, they will write winner, Donald Duke. Meanwhile, Donald Duke was never in my party. Can you believe it? And we try to correct it and they will refuse. When I issue statements, the most charitable amongst them, we use it in one little corner. But if a retired police officer, Nuri Badu, coughed, it will be on the front page. If a retired customs officer, Atiku, coughed, it will be on the front page. Everybody was qualified except a journalist. But they forgot that the founding fathers of Nigeria mostly passed through journalism, including Chief Awolowo, who was a lawyer, including Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Chief Awolowo had the Tribune. The Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe had the West African Pilot. You had others whose family were formidable journalists, the Enauros. You had the NS Sokolis. You know, this is why I said, I'm not sure if Nigerians even see the Messiah tomorrow, they'll be able to identify him. We look down on some people. Say, oh, who is Dele? Does he think this is ovation? Anybody who can run a business for a quarter of a century and is still going, we must respect that person because it is not easy. But when you have people who have never managed 1 million and suddenly you turn them into people beyond naira budget, that's why they will misbehave. So that is just my attitude to it. My experience was not very pleasant, but I'm very proud. I went all the way. A lot of people dropped out. They couldn't get to the finish line. I did. And it's on record that I did, and I did well. And I mean, of all the candidates of 2011, I'm probably the only person who was not mainstream, who is still very, very, very relevant today. I was able to smartly migrate my social media platforms from politics to business. And that's one of my greatest achievements. Some people, after they finish their election, they shut down their website, they shut down everything, and their social media is no longer thriving. But I'm glad that today I'm still very relevant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So, Kelechi, are you back? Kelechi, are you back?
I hope everyone can hear me now. I don't know.
We can, but if you can increase your volume, I mean, I wouldn't ask you to shout, but at least be a bit louder. It would be appreciated. The floor is yours.
Does this work?
This is good. Thank you.
Okay. So I was going to say that I think that I just wanted to talk about the use of the words force and power a lot in the Nigerian political space. In different forms, force has been used against the opposition in the country, be it economic force, physical force, spiritual force, security forces, etc. The credible force may unfortunately have to take over power using force as well. And it needs to be a tussle of different forces. And that's why whoever takes hold of the leadership position wants to remain in power. They want to express power. And it is that expression of power that, has put us in the position where we are. So we have more powerful people than leaders in the country. They don't want to lead. They just want to exercise power in the country. And then I also think that, irrespective of which side they are on, the elder statesmen in this nation are sort of against the youths. Why I say this is because of our experience last year, October, where youths were killed. And when these youths were killed, very few elder statesmen came up to condemn, or sort of gave support to the NSAS protests and to the activities of youths. very few came up to even give guidance to these youths on how to go about the EndSARS protests and everything. And even today, very few of the elder statesmen make reference to that murder that happened there. So I think that, you know, they find a way to just suppress the youth. And the elder statesmen, many of them, not all, many of them are against the youths, you know, having any form of traction towards any office, any of the whatsoever.
Okay. Can I quickly respond?
Go ahead, please, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kelechi. The use of force, I disagree with you. In a democracy, the use of force is unnecessary. Chief Abela did not use force before he won an election. People used force to take it away from him, but he still didn't use force to regain his mandate. That is why he was in prison for 4 years and he died eventually. The democracy is a price you must pay. I'm willing to be known as a man of peace than as a man of force. Politics for me is not a matter of life and death. I want to serve my country. When Fela Dutoye came over to the house to see me, that was the advice I gave him. I said, don't force yourself on your country. You don't even need to beg to serve your country if truly you want to serve. So I am never a desperado. It takes desperation for me to use force, because when you apply force, then the bigger force will act on you. It is from Newton's law of motion. Okay? When the force acts on the body, it produces some change of momentum. This change of momentum is inversely proportional to its line of force. So when you look at it, you will see that force jam force can only lead to more chaos in our society. We don't need it. I am telling you, if a leader is loved, people will follow him. We followed MKO the way his disciples followed Jesus Christ, because we trusted him. We knew he had changed many lives. He told us, he said he was tired because he realized that his personal fortune could not take care of all the people that needed him. So he wanted, that's why he had the manifesto, Farewell to Poverty. And he wanted to use the resources of the people to change the lives of the people. That is the leader that we need today. But if you have not been doing it in your private capacity, it's difficult for you to suddenly change and do it when you get power. The EndSARS thing that you mentioned, I agree with you that a lot of the older generation were probably not interested, but also, I mean, for a few people that I spoke to at the time, they said the young ones said they should leave them alone, that they didn't want to be polluted by the older ones, which is also a genuine and valid point. So the older ones were looking from, it's not that they were not interested or they hated what, in fact, we were all proud. Everybody was proud. Yeah, I mean, whenever I needed to, I rose up. My son participated in London. My son left London to come to Nigeria, you know, and I never discouraged him. I was very proud of him. We saw so many of our children. In fact, you will not believe, a few days ago, a daughter of one of my friends, and from a very, very famous family in Nigeria, I was shocked when she told me that she participated. I couldn't, you know, so we're so proud of these young guys for what they did. And definitely, we will continue to encourage them. Because some of us by now should have retired. But you want to retire into what? Into frustration? We're all frustrated. When the Wale Shakers were telling us that theirs was a wasted generation, we were so sure that ours would not be wasted. But slowly but surely, some people are wasting it. So thank you so much, my dear brother.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So I have 2 more questions on the list, but before we do that, I would like to refresh the room. So thank you everyone for joining us this evening. We are in the thick of tonight's conversation. How can the credible force take power? This is the White House family, and this is the third, our political show. If you are not following the house and you're on Clubhouse, please click the little green icon and become a member. Do well to also follow the mods. Each mod actually hosts their own show, and the White House family really hosts a very wide variety of programs dealing with every area of your life. Please also follow our Instagram at White House Family Clubhouse. I am your host, First Lady Dams, and the conversation is ongoing. So the next question is to be taken from Sean. Are you there, please?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Sean, please ask your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chief Dele, for sharing this insightful, for being here with us on the platform.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We've talked about, we've all alluded to youth playing a key role, in the elections. And one of the projects I'm trying to push on my own, I'm talking with people, is campus voting, where you have more than 2 million students, first-time voters in Nigeria, who are currently disenfranchised when it comes to voting. Now, if these youth will definitely have to play their role, it has to be easy for them to vote. So why do I feel that there is a deliberate effort in disenfranchising our youths, especially the first-time voters who are between the 18 block, 21, 22 block in our elections? And what do you think? Would there ever be a situation where, or a time where young people will be able to vote on campus where it's easy for them, where they don't have to spend funds? I've been at 2 universities in Nigeria and asked questions. The polling units are far from school. Class schedules are also tight. The students cannot leave to either get a PVC or even find a location to vote. Now, if you go on campus, these things are not said, and I have an issue with the SUG and NAS, which are supposed to represent the school body. But you find out that from my research, NAS played an effective role in the elections 30 years ago, but now they are silent. I do not know if this is deliberate in disenfranchising our young Nigerians who are already eligible to vote in Nigeria. So what would you say to that, please?
Thank you, Sean. You see, it's just unfortunate that things are falling apart almost irredeemably. When you talk about nouns, the nouns you have today, is it the same nouns that we had in our time? The answer is no. There was a day I saw a nouns president who was driving what looked like a limousine to me and had, all the appurtenances of the president of the country. And someone told me that, that one is even a regional nouns president, that there are various factions. I couldn't imagine it. We used to know the Segun Okewos in those days, and it was a national platform. So it was easier then for them to act as a voice against the oppressors. But today, that's not the case. So I just believe that what we need to continue to do is to push legally and legitimately for a change in our electoral system. It's not going to be an overnight thing, and I tend to agree with someone, a lawyer that I respect so much, Mr. Femi Falana, SAN. He has fought many battles. There are others. You have Chief Michael Zekome, SAN. And I think when we have this sort of ideas, we should reach out to those who have the wherewithal to make things happen in Nigeria. Because this electoral thing, until it happens, a lot of people, definitely, to use your word, are going to be disenfranchised. But again, there is no other way to go about it than through legal means. Hopefully, we will also have to put pressure on the legislature, because part of our problems is that the legislature that should be, the watchdog for us, I'm not sure they are doing enough yet. And even where they make laws, the executive break those laws with impunity. So it's a very, very technical question with no straightforward answer because of the complexity of Nigeria. But I believe that's one of the reasons we must find good leaders, especially at the topmost level. When you have a reasonable leader at the topmost, you will see that all the things we're agitating for would fade away. We are all agitating today because we cannot see a responsive government in sight. We must work to identify that new credible force, to come back to the theme of this house, that new, fresh, credible force. When we have that of our problem, even without lifting a finger, it will disappear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I'll take one last question, and then we're going to move this conversation along. Uduak, are you there, please?
Yes, Dammie, I'm here.
Uduak, over to you.
Okay. So I have two questions to ask. Are these based off of what you have said so far? So first, my first question is that you highlighted the issue of you talked about credible political parties, and you said it's not about the political party, but about the people in the party. And you also said that Nigerians do not know who to elect or the credible force to elect for elections. And then you spoke about the press, how the press doesn't release accurate information about the political parties or people that are conducting election, people that are the candidates of the election. So my first question is this. Would you say that the lack of credible press, free press in Nigeria is a reason why Nigerians are not able to know which candidates are credible and which candidates are not? Because there's an issue with, especially during the election period, that even when they're having presidential elections, you can see that the debates are rigged. Only certain people speak more than others. And even when they are giving out information on the newspaper, like you just give an example about the political party that you were in before, that they didn't even get the information right. And these are newspapers that are printed with the whole nation. The whole Nigerians are watching and they are listening and they're reading this thing. So would you say that the press has a part to play with the lack of understanding of Nigerians about which force is credible and which one is not? That's my first question. And my second question is this. You said that force is not required. You gave an example. You said force is not required in a democratic nation like Nigeria. But then you also said that you were proud of the NSAS movement. But then you see that the NSAS movement was about force. So would you, where do you stand in that? Because you said, democratically, would you say that force is only applicable when it's the people that are applying the force? Or how would you tell? Because you said that force is not required. But then are you saying that the NSAS movement was good? Because the NSAS movement was about force, was young people coming out and they were using force. So where do you stand with that in terms of force, and which force is the force to apply? That's my second question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doug. I cannot wait to answer you. The first one on free press. Of course, you need a free, independent press. But don't forget that every man is a part of a society, a part of a community. And when you are in the marketplace, you are likely to be making the same noise or hearing the same noise in the marketplace. So the press is not totally free, not totally independent. And as you also know, the ownership of the press also determines the direction of the press. So I agree totally that the press has a part to play, and which I encourage them to play that part. On the second one, NSAS was not about use of force. In fact, you will be doing incalculable damage to the spirit of those who risked everything. What I believe, my theory is that they were infiltrated by fifth columnists. The people that I saw who were cooking food and drinking at toll gates, did they look to you like someone who will fight anybody? I didn't see anybody carry machete. I didn't see anybody carry bullets. All we saw was that suddenly some people were burning down places. You can call, I don't think those ones were part of the NSAS movement. You may correct me if you have any other information. NSAS movement about passive resistance. It was not about force. The active word is passive resistance. And that has been used all over the world. From India to America to, so those who want to give a dog a bad name to hang it, they are the ones who would say, oh, they got violent. That's why we had to attack them. I don't believe it. The original answer that I saw, and we all saw it, was not about use of force. They had no guns, they had no violence, they had nothing. They had nothing to fight with. They were defenseless Nigerians who were viciously maligned and callously attacked. That is my view. Those who are breaking and those who were just, how would I put it? They were just people who were used by others to make sure that you should know how security works everywhere in the world. Once they see that a movement is gaining momentum, they will find a way to damage the credibility of that movement. It has happened everywhere in the world. And that's what I believe happened last year in Nigeria. And I pray we have all learned our lessons from it. That when these things are being done, you must plan it. In fact, one of the things I told those I knew was that, look, it was an error for us to say we don't want to talk to anybody. Because experience is the best teacher. I told some people a day before the katakata started busting, I said, look, I know the next thing that will happen is that some thugs will soon take over and they will blame the NSAS movement for it. And that's what happened. It was very predictable. So the use of force I won't support. Never, 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 never. I believe that yes, we can have peaceful demonstration if we can stay at home. That has also not worked. Stay at home in some societies would work when people refuse to go to work, when people are on strike. In France, that is very common in France. Many times I've missed my flight going through France just because they are always on strike. You know, they are very, very good at it. A few times, of course, they've had very violent demonstrations, but a lot of times people just refuse to go to work. Government cannot function. Nobody can function when people refuse to go to work. You know, but I don't know what will move the present government in Nigeria anyway, because I don't think we have a normal situation in our country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so we are 2 hours into our conversation, and I'm mindful of time and I'm mindful of Chief, who has been on seat for 2 hours now. So this is going to be the last request for speakers for this evening. Speak now or forever hold your peace. So if you would like to speak, and you're in the gulag, please raise your hand and the mod will bring you up. I already have 2 people on the list. And once I am satisfied with the length of the list, because we're not going to be here all night, the list will be closed and we continue this conversation another day. There are already 3 people on the list. If you're in the gulag, please blink. Osigwe, I've seen you. Probity, I've seen you. If you're in the gulag, please raise your hand. hand raising is now on. Please raise your hand and you will be invited to speak. I'm only taking another 5 people for this list this evening. So do not raise your hand if you're not coming up to speak. So please blink as you come up. Blinks, I've seen you. And as you come up, please mute your mic. Ugoeze, I can see you. Does anybody else want to speak? Tolu, I've seen you. Last call for speakers. Last call for speakers. Wonderful. The list is now closed. Okay. So we have 5 speakers on the list. Each speaker, remember, you have 3 minutes to speak. Keep it respectful, keep it clear, keep it concise and to the point. And depending on how it goes, we may or may not be taking shorter questions in between. So, Biggs, are you there, please? Biggs, are you there? Biggs, you're muted. All right, Biggs, I'll see if I can come back to you.
Yes,
Biggs.
yes, I'm here.
Biggs, you have 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Moderator, and thank you to Mr. Dele. So I want to make this little contribution before I ask my question. Prior to 2019 general elections, where we had so many platforms protecting young, vibrant candidate aspirants, I was actively involved in the EPL platform, emerging political leaders, where we are projecting the idea of 50 under 50 to have representative 50 representative under the age of 50. But at the end of the day, we realized that people that were coordinators of those movements, they even came out to contest against those that were coordinating for, talking about the likes of Madam Obi Ezekwesili, who was actually the one that moderated this election process that produced the likes of Fernando. But at the end of the day, she came out again to say she wanted to contest before she took up the idea. So just to tell us how funny and dicey this political change is, especially when we're looking at it from the angle of the young, vibrant youth entity. So now, since 2007, I've always asked this question, which I will have.
Biggs, we've lost you. Biggs, your network is playing up. We can no longer hear you. Actually cracking all the way through.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, the question is, when those in position to make things right are the ones seemingly making it worse, we as respected citizens, what can we do? You know, then that's the question. But then my other part of the contribution is that I'm not saying, under the present situation in Nigeria, I'm not any strange force coming to power, coming to authority. I want to believe that the people, the crop of people and the person that will champion the change that we so much desire, that we so much pray for, will come within the existing system. Yes, will come within the existing system, will come through the existing status quo, rigging, election malpractices, money politics, and everything. I want to have that belief that emerge from that system and tend to change it, rather than coming about a thought force or a force from elsewhere to change the status quo. Following the question, when
Biggs, your network. Biggs, your network.
Yeah, so
Alright.
the height. All right, thank you.
Okay, sir, please, were you able to catch this question?
Yes, I heard him complain about those who promised to support some candidates actually contesting against the candidate. I think that's the one I heard. Well, my attitude as a Democrat again is everyone is free to contest. If you feel you have better chances or better ideas, then why not? So try, and if you make it, if you don't make it, at least to be on record that you've tried. So I'm not going to get involved in.
Right.
That's why I was saying that those who are saying they want young people. So why can't all the young people, as a sign of seriousness, come together and vote among themselves for one of them to represent us? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
so it's. I mean, if you are saying you want a credible force, and if the so-called credible forces cannot even come together on their own, just 10 people, 20 people come together, then there's a problem. That's my belief. The first sign of seriousness is when we can all come together and do it. Let's agree amongst ourselves today that, okay, I want Fela Toye, I want Donald Duke, I want Chumure, I want Dele Momodu, whoever. So let's vote. Let 20 people vote. And let's sign before the voting exercise. Let us sign that whosoever wins will be our representative. If we can't do that, then how can anybody take us serious?
Thank you. So a question from me is, so far we've heard one way in which or two ways I should say, in which the credible force can take power, in terms of, number one, and most importantly, being a member of a mainstream party. So that would be either the PDP or the APC, and also having courage. What other ways, what other things can we do to take power? We've also mentioned about, picking a representative, like you said just now. What else can we do, sir?
Well, I don't see much that we can do other than for us to go and proliferate the top parties, especially if we're talking about national politics. We must go all out. Then I'm telling you, even the powers that be will know, okay, something has shifted. Okay, it seems these people are serious. I was very excited when Senator Shehu Sani told me he has joined the PDP. That's the first step. Nobody can ignore Shehu Sani. When Femi Fani-Kayode went to APC, people abused him, but it is his right. It's none of my business where anybody goes. At least maybe he feels he will be more relevant there or whatever. I'm a Democrat. I tolerate everybody. Go to wherever your mind tells you to go. You see, but that's the first step. It's very important that we must go in there and bring along affair. And I hear they've been test running e-registration. So you don't have to go to your village before you register. So go online to be a member if you feel that you really want to play politics big time. Well, whether we play it or not, some people are going to play it and they're going to take power. I gave you the example of my friend Valentine Ozibo. I couldn't believe, his capacity to take on a very huge challenge. He only joined the party not too long ago. And he was able to make his impact felt. And when they saw that this guy, even those who didn't want to support him, I know people who didn't want to support him, they were forced to support him because they could see that, yes, this is a serious, credible candidate. And he has a platform to contest. And look, let us give the people an opportunity to compare and contrast. And I said it, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said, look, I'm not asking any young person not to contest, but don't ask me not to contest. So why don't we have a young person who can stand up in a debate or whatever and say, ah, Alaji, yes, you said a young person can contest. Here I am. And this is A, B, C, D to Z, what I am not capable of doing. You understand? That's how to do it. But if you run away because you think, oh, they're going to muscle you out with money or muscle you out with experience or with whatever, with force, then you might as well just fold our arms, akimbo, and stay at home. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. So the next person on the list, Probity, are you there, please? Probity, are you there? Final call for Probity. All right. Otigwe, are you there, please?
Yeah, good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, Otigwe, you're audible. You have 3 minutes, please.
All right, thank you very much. Uncle Dele, good evening, sir. Good evening.
Otigwe, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you. And good evening to every listener. Enjoyed everything. But sir, I'm going to talk about two things. Then maybe you can just figure out the question and answer it for me. Well, just based on your last comment when you talk about the youth and all that, I look at the system right now, the political system right now. It's more like in 2023, we are still going to have between the APP and the PDP houses. Now, if we are going to have a third force, that we are not really sure about that. Where is the third force going to come from? Who are going to be the leaders? We are not really sure about that. Now, this is my take. I believe in one thing. I believe that the people must be responsible to choose their leaders, irrespective of the political party. So I'm looking at the idea where the Nigerian youth that are complaining that they want to be involved, in decision making. I'm looking at a picture where millions of them will belong to PDP and millions of them will belong to APC and millions of them will belong to APGA, any political party that is viable, and see how they can actually elect leaders from their own self. Let's assume if the APC is going to adopt, direct primaries for its leadership from councillor to presidency, and the same thing PDP adopt or direct primaries, and the youth are involved, I believe that there will be a change in terms of leadership. That is his own. Then look at it in this aspect. We're going to have a third force. Look at the brilliant minds, you, Christian Mogome, Governor Duke and Co. and all that. I'm looking at a situation where why can't you all just come together where we can have a force, let's believe on the vision, a clear vision, where we can all accept each other and believe in oneness of Nigeria. Then we can pick one of you to represent the people. Maybe our target may not be to win the election in 2023. Maybe our target will be to have more senators, to have more state house of assembly members, to have more governors, and that way we can actually grow a movement and make a proper change. I don't know what you think about that, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I will never get tired of saying I personally don't believe that there will be a third force in 2023. I may be wrong. And when I'm wrong, I will apologize publicly and say I'm wrong for the fact that that's not going to happen in 2023. This issue of some of us coming together, people approached it in the past, it didn't work. It doesn't mean that it may not work again. Even if it works, I still have my doubts about the efficacy of it. Look, if we let 100 political parties march in Nigeria, they do not have the structures, they do not have the money, they do not have that template of taking on the behemoth called PDP or APC. They don't have it. So, I mean, it's not something that has not been tested. I tried it. Donald Duke tried it. Omar Eleshuwore tried it. Kingsley Moghalu tried it. Fela Dutoye tried it. Alistair Sheode tried it. You know, Tope Fashua tried it. You know, Obadiah Melefia, God bless his soul, tried it. You know, so it's not something that has not been tried. It's been tried. But what's the outcome? So why don't we then all come together? Instead of 100 people forming a new party between now and next year. So why don't the 100 of us come together and collapse ourselves either into APC or PDP? So those who want to go to APC can go to APC. Those who want to go. That way, there is no way you will not disrupt the system from within. People will respect you when they see that you're a credible person. Trust me. I know in PDP today, Abubakar is a force to reckon with, and is a man who is youth friendly. I am very certain that when they see good people, they would embrace such people. I've interacted with some of these people in the past, and I know that it's who they find they will work with. If you are not available, nobody will work with you. We're all running without seeing what is chasing us. My mom used to tell me, don't run unless you see what is chasing you, because you may now run into what is about to consume you. So for me, I have my eyes wide open. There's no harm in taking that risk. And look, let's go into the big parties. A few of us will still become governors. A few of us will become senators. But when you are outside, the chances of even becoming a local government councillor is very difficult. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. All right. We're coming to the end of our list, which is a shame. It has been a really wonderful discussion. Ugoeze, are you there? Ugoeze, are you there? Final call for Ugoeze. All right. Tolu, are you there?
Hi, Dammie. Good evening.
Hi, how are you? Good evening. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Chief. Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Thank
sir.
you.
You have 3 minutes, please. Over to you.
All right. Yes. I just want to react from the point of view of the young people. We all know that the participation. So when we have a young population, as we have in Nigeria, you know, young people should be a valuable resource and should be involved in community. And they encouraging them to participate, you know, in building governance then becomes important also for the future. So I would like to ask Chief Mamodu this question: that how can Nigerian youths invest in the knowledge of politics and governance? You know, that can indeed help to create this nation political decision making. Because I believe that when skills and energy and resources are channeled effectively, perhaps we can start to say we want to fight for good governance. And youth representation is still very thin in government. So how can Nigerian youth invest in knowledge of politics and governance to start to help to create a niche in political decision making and towards a better future, irrespective of the reality that we face today? That would be my question for Chief, sir.
Okay, thank you, Tolu. You see, it's still the same old story that we will keep repeating. If you don't trust the leaders that you have, whether they are young or old, you are not likely to be interested in investing in them. In America, we all saw how even the young ones were contributing huge sums of money to the campaign of Senator Bernie Sanders. You understand? If people trust you, it doesn't matter whether you are old or young, they will go all out and give their all to you. And until we get to that stage when we become in the political process, we cannot have a say, because currently only a few people are willing to risk their funds on politics. It's like gambling. And so, I mean, the higher the stakes, the higher the jackpot. That's what it is in gambling. So that is my belief. And that is why I think, one, when the young ones see that we have a good chance of getting somewhere, because if you have 20 candidates and none is ready to step down for the other, what do you expect to happen? Nobody is going, because the result is obvious that you are going to lose, you know, the election from the beginning. So my advice is that let's agree today on concrete, because what I see, I'm not sure if you are the last speaker, but what I see, to wrap it all up, is that one, we suffer a lot from self-doubt. We are always complaining that it's not possible. And I'm giving cogent examples of where and when it's been made possible. So let's stop doubting. Two, let's acquire the courage and the confidence to know that we are the ones who will be at the architects of the change that we want. Nobody's going to do it for us. We keep waiting for a miracle from heaven. No. We are the ones who will do it. Number three, let's be practical. Let's demonstrate to the whole world in practical steps that we are ready to work together. We are ready to succeed together. We are ready to fail together. When we fail, we will rise up again and do it. But a situation where everybody just wants to be a master, none is ready to serve, then it's not going to augur well for the change that we desire. And that's what I can say. Nigerians individually are there. We are trying. But we now have to do better by working collectively. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
that
you.
Is actually our last speaker for the evening. We do have two final questions, both of which I'm going to read. And then I will ask you, sir, for your final and closing remarks, and we will close the show. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. So the first question says, talking about third force ahead of 2023, is it not possible for some faction to move from the two major political parties and form that third force?
If they move, then what has changed? If they move, you say you don't like a party, and now you are expected to benefit from the same parties. Are you going to move out the saints in the parties and leave the sinners? These are the simple things I've been asking and nobody's able to give me answers. Because it's a game of number. You are going to require 15, 20 million votes to win presidential elections. So where are you going to get them from in those small parties? And don't let anybody come and tell me that it's because I was... No, it's because you already right place at the right time.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes complete logical sense, sir. Thank you for answering that. And this one is, it's my cheek, but I'm hoping you'll give me a good answer here. I have some information through the grapevine that you, sir, will be picking up the presidential ticket for PDP. Can I get a confirmation or a denial?
No, there's no way anybody can get pick up a ticket if you're not a member of the party. I'm not a member of PDP. I'm not a member of APC as we speak. You can't pick, and nobody can guarantee you ticket. You have to go and fight for it. You have to reach out to people. And as I speak to you, There is, I don't know, because of the way I've been talking lately, I'm a very practical person. I'm very, very angry and uncomfortable. The caliber of people that I'm seeing who want to come into the race. And I'm like, so we're all going to sit down here and watch these guys take over again? Because it is those who make themselves available who can do it. They're the ones who will do it. Nobody's going to come to your house to come and drag you out, to come and do it. You must show interest. So I've been encouraging others. I encouraged Shobore to go to APC. He said no, but B, he can never go there because they are not credible. So I respect his right. I spoke to Kingsley Mogalu. I said, go to PDP. PDP is very predominant in your area. He said no. Now he has joined ADC. You understand? It's not about me. I advised Donald Duke in 2018, 2019, don't leave PDP. He left. Now I think he has probably gone back. I'm not sure. So it's nothing personal. I just want good people to get power in Nigeria. If I have the opportunity, why not? I contested before. Chief Abiola wanted to contest in 1981. When he was discouraged, he left. He came back 12 years after. I contested in 2011. If I decide to come back in 2023, it will be 12 years, just like Abiola's case. And in 2023, it will be 30 years that we've been suffering because of the foolishness of not doing the right thing in 1993. So are we going to repeat the same mistake again 30 years after, when we have those who have the capacity to give us a good country? So it's not about talking, it's not about wishful thinking. So if you believe in any candidate, please work actively with that candidate. If you believe that yes, we need to change things, please change your mindset by urgently registering with a mainstream party. I didn't say you must go into any particular party. Even when I contested, I never forced any of my staff to join my party. I'm a Democrat. You know, so someone said I will pick up, I don't know. So maybe that's the wish they have for me and the wish of God. I'm a fatalist. I believe that what will be will be. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very grateful here at the White House family for joining our show this evening. Thank you so much for enlightening us
Thank you.
on the credible force and the steps and